Alrighty, let's keep this simple. We're back with Sonic and the Black Knight, Part 3, of me trying to 100% the entire game. It's been quite a grind, but I've been enjoying it by having some friends in my stream. Also, this Cube Gamer character keeps coming back to taunt me, but at least he's keeping me company nonetheless. Alrighty, the only thing left I have to ask you to do is to subscribe and become part of the Skeleton Crew. This group has been slowly growing, but with your help, we can become large enough that we could even enact my secret plan. Alrighty, time for us to hop right back in and save some villagers from a dragon. If you watched the last episode, you know that we found a girl who was in trouble, and said that her village had been trapped in the mountains by a dragon. Well, I don't know if the stories are true, but if they are, we've already slayed one. What's another one on our list? Let's go. Before we begin that though, here's my live reaction to seeing this level for the first time once returning to it. Dude, 600 points! No! That's so many! You heard me correct. 600 followers. That is by far and away the highest amount of followers we've ever had to get in any particular level so far. And not to mention that even with a good score, you're only getting about 60 to 80 followers. Yes, it does scale, so it makes it more convenient, but when you have a level that's about 2 minutes long and takes at least 9 to 10 attempts at minimum, it adds up to a decent amount of time. I believe this level alone took me about 30, maybe 40 minutes, depending on some of the delays, because this first beginning area is the worst. These spear posts here are supposed to be used as grind rails to jump over those landmines. The problem with that is the spears are jank and inconsistent, and if you don't hit them quite right, they'll just knock you off and you'll take damage guaranteed because you can't stop your momentum. While it's nothing special necessarily, this is the first level that taught us how to do wall climbing. By jumping constantly, you can upwards slash and get yourself higher. But in order to attack, you do a wild slash where you spin out like crazy and kill everything in the area. Now, while this isn't necessarily anything particular or special, and we've done something similar before, we haven't done a wall climb, just a wall grind, or fall, I suppose. While I say there's a lot of jankness and inconsistencies to this game, which I still agree with, there are a few areas that are kinda obvious that you should be able to hit and make things easier. If you could tell here, I was having a struggle trying to get around these mines consistently and making it easy for me not to take damage, but what I just needed to do was jump into one of those rings. Literally all I needed to do, and it would have launched me through, like it did here. The only problem with that is there was nothing necessarily signifying that that was going to be the case, so how was I supposed to know that that's what I needed to do? I guess gamer intuition and previous experience should have told me that, but without any prompting, like it does with everything else, how was I supposed to know? After attempt after attempt, and after about 30 minutes of tries, my live stream decided to start acting up. Now, what happened exactly I wasn't sure at first, because I was preoccupied with a different problem. One of my chatters and one of my friends wasn't able to chat in, well, to chat for some reason. They weren't able to text, type, or anything. They could submit something, but it wouldn't go through. Not really sure what was happening with that, but it did preoccupy me for a little bit. But the reason I was stuck in this pause menu for so long was because my live stream decided to lag for so long. It was almost a 30-second delay, and that was after I got it working again. Once I had finally figured out that my laptop was dying, I plugged it back in and we got right back on track. But before that, I did start to panic a little bit. Still never figured out what happened with the chat, and I'm not really sure how to fix it. If any of you have any suggestions, please let me know. Time for more obscure tech with Great Dissident. These pillars that I was at before and you saw me slash through, I thought that was the only way through them. But apparently if you have enough speed, you could just kinda run through them. Here's my live reaction to that. Wait, what? Now I can go- hold up. I wasn't able to just walk through those before. The things you learn by just playing randomly. It is strange indeed, past Dissident. Now, it is very cool to learn things like that, though, because every time you play through a level and you learn small little optimizations like that, it makes the level that much more satisfying. That's the only way I'm making it through some of these, because man, is it mind-numbing to play the same level 15 times. Listening back to some of this footage, I did make a little bit of a good point. In the Mario 64 playthrough, the controls are super inconsistent if you're not super familiar with the game, and I have some experience with the game, but I'm definitely no pro. The problem with this game, though, is it being on the Wii. The Wii is great, don't get me wrong, but the problem is if you slightly twist your arm in just the wrong direction, you're going to do something completely different from what you wanted to do. Or, sometimes even if you swing in the exact same direction, it's going to take your input to something else, and it won't give you the same run. You could do the exact same thing twice, and yet still have two completely different results. Why? I don't know what it is with me and Nintendo game references, but I think this one's pretty warranted. Troll's eyelashes. Oh, that's gross. What are we playing? Breath of the Wild? Like what? Alrighty, with that level over and done with, it's time to fight Sir Gawain. Gawain is Blaze, I think.
I don't suppose you're gonna let me by. Ha! You look just like this knucklehead I know.
Ho! You dare mock Sir Gawain, Knight of the Round Table? An act most unwise, my friend.
Wait! I'm not trying to pick a fight with you. I was heading to a cave to save some people from a dragon.
Ah! You cannot fool me with your lies. No doubt you're after the dragon's treasure.
Oh, man. You sound just like that knucklehead, too.
You have defied King Arthur. This place shall be your grave.
And with that, we're introduced to Sir Gawain, this universe's version of Knuckles, not Blaze. I don't know what I was thinking. The only difference between him and Shadow is that he has a lot more HP, about double. That may not necessarily be accurate, but he has enough to be able to use his special moves sometimes because I can't get a full combo of him every time. His fight was a little more complicated at the beginning, but that's just because for some reason my Wiimote didn't want to cooperate, and after I got the hang of it, it only took me about 20 seconds per attempt, and yes, it only took about 16 attempts again, because if you get 5 stars, you can get slightly over 10 points, which allows you to save a couple of attempts. After kicking Sir Knucklehead's butt a few times, we were finally allowed passage to move forward as we de-weaponize him. He also tries to take his own life, but unfortunately for him, we're done with this drama and decide to move along.
To lose to a mere apprentice, I have been disgraced. Only death can remove this stain upon my honor.
Give me a break! What's up with all this drama?
Silence! Silence, I say! A knight who fails their king is unfit to live.
Isn't there more to being a knight than just serving a king?
Huh?
I'm out of here. People to save, you know.
Moving along, we actually managed to unlock 2 missions, which I didn't remember until this point. One of the missions was to continue onwards in order to save the people. I mean, that's pretty obvious. So what could the other mission be? Some other random side quest? Something different? No, it's a perfect hit challenge. You know, that skill we've been using this whole time? Well, when you hit it right when it turns gold, it's called a perfect hit, and you recharge most of the gauge that you used when using that charge. Yeah, we've been doing that already, but they want to make sure that we know it at this point, so they instead go ahead and make us play it like 5 levels after we've learned the ability, so that's great. This level is quite quick and quite satisfying. All you have to do is use your charge ability for most of the run and get the charge to be exactly in the middle. Now, it's not that hard, but in order to get 5 stars, you have to hit most of the enemies with the charge strike at a perfect moment. But the problem is, with the ground charge strike, you are almost guaranteed to hit multiple enemies, which don't count towards multiple hits on your perfect hits. So, what do you have to do then? Try and do some sort of other technique, slow it down to split them up? No. Just do it in midair. You know, the technique that's not really necessary for half of this. If you just do it in midair, you hit most of them individually in order to get a higher score, so that way you don't strike multiple of them down at the same time. It's a very simple change, but a very effective one nonetheless. Alrighty, we're finally on our way into the Crystal Cave, where we can find the dragon and save the people. For this first level, we have to explore this giant mine area and try and get to the top so we can find out where the villagers and/or dragon may lie. This is one of the first of many levels that are split up into several different paths. The only problem that I have is that when I was playing through this game by myself, the stage was fairly dark. You could probably see some of the details here, but unfortunately when you're playing on a Wii, the details just don't come through quite as crisp, and this area was slightly, almost pitch black in certain areas. Now, with that being said, there were also several launchers and/or fairies that would launch you straight into obstacles. You could not dodge them. not without pulling back a little bit, but I didn't find that out till later. So right here where I ran into the spike ball, you just can't see it coming. It just became a consistent issue, and every time you take damage, so you're less likely to get a full grade. So I had to take a little bit of a different approach, and I used some help from the chat as well. I will say there is part of this, though, that started showing how psychotic I was starting to become with how monotonous this job was getting, as I found this gem of audio. This is such a grind, it's such a grind, it's such a grind, got to kill everything all at the same time. I don't know where it came from or why I said it, but it was quite funny listening back to it now. Also, here's another thing. After the second attempt that I'd made through on it, I decided I needed to take a break and go take care of something while I had a second. But I came back and surprisingly had no other messages. I thought this Cube Gamer fellow was going to curse my chat, and I even made a comment about it. And as soon as I did, he started spamming letters and cursed my chat instead. But this is where I learned something interesting. He's not a human. Well, I already knew that from one of our previous chats. But what I learned now is that his skeleton isn't on the inside of him like other people. Instead, he's riding a bone mech. What the heck that means? I don't really know. You don't want to be a skeleton? Well, it's not my fault you cursed the chat. Here, I got a secret for you, though. Inside of all of us, there's a skeleton. You're inside the skeleton? I have so many questions right now. So if you're inside the skeleton, wouldn't that mean you're already a skeleton? Or is that just not how it works? You're piloting a bone mech. I was not prepared for that response, if you couldn't tell. What if I skip the boost? Which boost? Oh, you're talking about the fairies? Is that what you're talking about? Like if I jump over them? Shortly after that whole conversation went down, one of my chatters decided to tell me that it might be possible to just evade the blue fairies at the beginning where I was having problems with that spike ball. And now that I'm thinking about it, that might have been possible. But even though I wasn't able to pull it off in the way that I was expecting to, I did find out that if I pulled back, I was able to stop right before hitting the ball, and I was able to use my charge ability to get past it. That was still helpful, nonetheless. Alright, it's time to move on to the last level of this section, freeing the villagers. I could have sworn there was a dragon fight, and there might still be one, but for this session, this is going to be the last level. This level is pretty plain and simple. All you have to do is run through the level, get into the light, and try to break open crystals using the reflection of your blade. It's pretty simple in concept, but to get a 5-star, I'm pretty sure you have to get them all in one run. The problem being, I don't know what the pattern is to get all of them in one run, so I just ended up killing a lot of enemies and getting 4 of them in a row, and the last one on the second time through. Oh, did I forget to mention? If you don't get them all in their first try, much like the Mario games and the original dungeons, if you don't get it correct, you get sent back to the beginning and you have to try again. But at least in here, it doesn't reset your counter and you're able to just pick up from where you left off. The only difference is I did try to go backwards to see if I could get 2 in the beginning sections, but unfortunately, if you've already passed the starting point, it won't let you go back. All in all, though, once perfecting this run, it only took me about a minute 20 per each run, and I only had to go through about 15 times. So, could have been worse, not too bad, and having the extra people here to do the chat with me made this a lot easier. I would appreciate if you guys would be able to watch as well, and I do plan to probably try on streaming Wednesday again midday, probably shortly after lunch about 1 or 2ish, but I haven't decided yet. While this process has been long and tedious, yes, and I know I complained a few times, I am quite enjoying this game, and I'm having quite a good time having a little bit of fondness with the memories of it. This was one of my first Wii games, and one of my favorites. Especially when it comes to Sonic games, these off-side kind of mission ones are definitely my favorite. And I hope you guys are enjoying it as well. And with that, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. See you later. And don't forget to join the Skeleton Crew!